Hello, my friend. I hope you're having a wonderful day, but boy oh boy, do I have a surprise for you. I found my first Golden Nugget. It's about 8.7 grams, but before I give you more details on it and show you it up close, I want to talk to you about how I found it. So if you've been watching my channel, you know I've been gold prospecting for about a half a year now, and I've really only ever found some gold flakes and really small pieces. And I was like, with all the information out there and the technology that exists, I should be able to find some type of gold. So I went online and I cross-referenced old and current mining claims and old gold mines, and I looked at Google Earth, and I also looked where old riverbeds and streams had potentially dried up, and I marked a couple places and I went out and prospected them, and it definitely took a long time, and I just crossed each one off as I went through, but eventually, with a lot of patience, I was able to find this baby right here. And I would talk more about where the location is and show you, but I don't want to tell everyone where it is yet because I'm seriously considering applying for a gold claim. I'm thinking about calling it Hannah's Golden Nugget. What do you think about that? If you have a better idea, let me know down below. But if it gets approved and the paperwork goes through, then I'll do another video and show you around. But for now, let's take a closer look at the Golden Nugget, and then I'm going to take you along with me on a gold prospecting adventure where hopefully we can find an even bigger nugget. So let's go ahead and weigh the gold nugget so we can see exactly how much it weighs, and then I'll give you a closer look because let's be honest, I know all the naysayers are going to be like, come on, Hannah, we know you just spray painted a rock. No, this puppy is real, and I'm going to show you up close. But, okay, let's turn on the scale. .76 grams. And by my research, gold is measured in troy ounces, which is a little different than a normal ounce. Apparently, it dates back to the Middle Ages and they measured precious metals in it. Don't ask me, I'm just relaying the information that I found. So, gold was trading at $1,900 today. If my golden nugget is 8.76 grams, that's about $535 worth of gold. And that sounds like a lot of money to pull out of the ground, but let's not forget about how much money I spent in gas driving around all over creation like a crazy person, and then all the money I've spent on supplies and gold prospecting equipment and time. I understand now why those during the gold rush that made money were the ones that sold the picks and axes and not the actual gold prospectors. If you're thinking about becoming a gold prospector, I'd probably consider keeping your day job because I definitely didn't profit out of this. But I'm thinking about making a necklace out of this. I think it's really cool looking. Maybe I can find another piece or two for 2 earrings, but it's still really neat to see. So I'm going to show you close up what it looks like. It's going to take me a couple of hours to drive to this gold prospecting area that I want to show you. And that's why I want to talk to you about today's sponsor for this video, Audible. I spend so many hours of my life driving around in this truck, traveling to new places. Some would consider this lost time, but I use this time to learn by listening to audiobooks. Audible has thousands of titles in their premium library to listen to. And if I get bored of listening to audiobooks, they also have comedy, podcasts, meditation, and so much more. I get a lot of questions in the video comments about how I'm able to live this life traveling all the time. The audiobook that laid the groundwork for everything I'm able to do now is called The 4-Hour Workweek. Escape the 9 to 5. It'll get you. Live Anywhere and Join the New Rich by Tim Ferriss. If you're at all interested in living a similar life that I do, I would highly recommend listening to this audiobook. The great thing about it is that you can get this title for free by using your first Audible credit if you visit audible.com/drhannahstraight or text drhannahstraight to 500-500 to start your free 30-day trial. I haven't quite figured out how to only work 4 hours. I'm still working on that, but I don't think I would be where I am today if I hadn't listened to the 4-Hour Workweek audiobook. It really opened my eyes to what was possible. And with Audible, you get access to so much information from so many brilliant and renowned authors right at your fingertips. Why not listen to everything you can and take a little bit from each one? That's my philosophy. I'm acquiring knowledge and experience from people that I may never be able to learn from in person. And as an Audible member, you get 1 credit every month, good for any title in their premium selection of bestsellers and new releases, as well as full access to their Audibles Plus catalog. Sometimes I'm out in the middle of nowhere with no reception, but that's not a problem because I'm able to download and listen later offline. So, if you're ready to start feeding your brain with some new information, because I know it's craving some, visit audible.com/drhannahstraight or text drhannahstraight to 500 to start your free 30-day trial. Okay, now let's go find some more gold. It's an absolutely beautiful day out. I got here a little bit early and I figured it'd be the perfect time to paddleboard. It's like 65 or 70 degrees and sunny, and that's what's perfect about Nevada. It can be warm and sunny in the desert during the winter and cold and chilly in the mountains. But I'm so lucky because I was able to enjoy this reservoir all by myself. There's no one else here. It's so peaceful. But I'm gonna take a quick spin on this reservoir and then we're gonna head back in, do some gold prospecting.
I used to live in the Northeast. The winters were cold and dark there, with little sunlight. When I moved across the US, one thing I looked forward to was more sunshine throughout the year. Not only does it help your body produce vitamin D, but it also releases endorphins such as serotonin and improves your mood and energy levels. This is why seasonal affective disorder is a real thing. Sometimes all I need is a little peace, quiet, and sunshine.
Welcome to the Wild Wild West! Literally. I passed a sign back there that said, "Welcome to Cowboy Country." All I need is my horse and my hat. But really, check out this trail behind me. It goes for miles. And if you follow it, you'll come up to one of the most famous places in the United States for gold prospecting with a gold detector. And there's a rare form of gold called chevron gold, which can only be found in this area. But I'd be happy to find any types of gold. So let's keep heading on and let's see what I can find. Howdy! I finally made it! It's beautiful outside and I'm ready to do some gold prospecting. There's quite a few areas here to do gold prospecting, but so much of it has either private claims on it or it's privately owned. I was able to get permission directly to use this area to prospect, so I'm gonna take a gander, look around a little bit, see if I can find anything. The reason that this area is so famous for gold prospecting with a metal detector is that everything's really flat and there's a lot of surface gold here, so I'm thinking positive.
This area is just one of many of the small gold and silver towns that popped up during the boom of the 1860s. The mill here processed up to $1 million worth of gold and silver.
I think I found my first target.
Metal detecting is popular here due to the lack of water in the prospecting areas and the location of gold that is often found closer to the surface.
Piece of metal. There's your gold. Okay, moving on. Well, I've been here about 2 hours. I haven't found squat. Not even a cool rock. Losing a little bit of faith, I was also thinking they probably were like, yeah, we'll let this girl prospect here with gold detector because there's no gold to be found. piece of scrap metal. So far, all I found is some odd pieces of scrap metal. Nothing valuable. Oh, I almost dropped it. I found a tiny little piece of gold. It's hard to see. I'm trying to show you in the camera. It's tiny and it's a little bit hard to see. It definitely looks like dirt. If I hadn't had the gold detector, I would have gone right over it. I'm gonna have to go inside later and weigh it and see how much it weighs. But I'm gonna go check out or try to find this ghost town before it gets too dark. The sun is setting. I've got to head to the ghost town as soon as possible and see if I can find it.
Despite my gold excitement, a local in town told me one of Mark Twain's old cabins was nearby. I couldn't pass it up, so I headed out to a tiny little town in a hidden canyon.
I found it. Behind me is allegedly one of the cabins that Samuel Clemens lived in when he first came west to find gold and silver. And you may not know who Samuel Clemens is, but he's more famously known as the famous author Mark Twain. He came west to find his riches in gold and silver. He lived here for a little while in the 1860s, and he only found a little bit of silver. It wasn't enough to keep him here, so he actually moved from here to Virginia City, where he was going to take his job a little bit more seriously, but was not successful. So that's when he became a writer for the newspaper. But allegedly he lived here in 1861, and it's amazing to see what's left of it. Come check out what I can see.
Life here in the canyon in the 1860s. I think back to some of Mark Twain's stories and imagine how these places brought inspiration to his writing.
Mark Twain's house is to my left, and behind me is actually a bunkhouse. The caretaker for this property, he's lived here his whole life, and his grandparents bought the place that he lives in now. He allowed me to walk through here and give you a glance of what the bunkhouse looks like, but he also gave me a little bit of history behind the bunkhouse. So during the Great Depression, they started the WPA program, which helped provide work for men and women so that they could bring money in. And so they built this bunkhouse and 2 outhouses. There was a men's and a women's. I'll give you a quick glance too. But the men and women would come into this canyon and work, and this is where they would stay.
I spent a little more time here than I had anticipated, so I didn't make it to the ghost town before dark. But not to worry, that adventure is coming soon, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. So I headed back for the night to enjoy the sunset.
And if you notice, this is actually the reservoir I was on earlier on my paddleboard. And it was 65 or 70 degrees this afternoon with full sun. It was perfect. But in the more shallow areas, it's actually frozen. It looks like a painting, to be honest with you.
The sunset was warm and perfect. I was thankful for the day's adventure and eager for a new day.